Karl Benz was born in November 1844 in a small German town. His father worked as a locomotive driver but tragically passed away when Karl was just 2 years old, leaving the family in financial hardship. Despite growing up in poverty, Karl's mother was determined to give him a good education. Her efforts paid off. Karl excelled in chemistry and mechanics from a young age. At 15, Karl passed the entrance exam for the University of Karlsruhe, where he studied mechanical engineering. He was particularly inspired by one of his teachers, Ferdinand Redenbacher, who was a pioneer in transforming engineering into a technical science. Under his guidance, Karl's interest in creating motorized vehicles grew. In the late 1800s, many inventors had tried to build automobiles, but their designs, often powered by steam engines, were impractical. Karl believed a different approach was needed. After graduating at 19, he spent years working various engineering jobs, learning everything he could to pursue his dream. In 1871, at the age of 27, Karl partnered with a mechanic named August Ritter to start an iron foundry and mechanical workshop in Mannheim. While Karl worked on building his dream motorized carriage as a side project, the business struggled because Ritter proved to be unreliable. Around this time, Karl met Bertha Benz, who later became his wife. Bertha came from a wealthy family and was a strong, determined woman. To save Karl's business, she used her dowry to buy out Ritter's share, giving her and Karl full control of the company. Over the next decade, Karl made significant progress. He developed a gasoline-powered two-stroke engine in 1879 and patented various inventions, including the spark plug, carburetor, and gearshift. These innovations not only brought him closer to creating a motorized carriage but also provided new products to sell. Despite his achievements, Karl's business faced challenges. High production costs forced him to turn his company into a joint stock corporation in 1882, leaving him with only a 5% stake. Worse, he lost decision-making authority in his own company. Frustrated and disheartened, Karl eventually left the company he had built. After leaving his first company, Karl Benz faced a tough setback. However, instead of giving up, he became even more determined to succeed. His passion for bicycles led him to team up with Max Rose and Friedrich Wilhelm, who owned a bicycle repair shop in Mannheim. Together, they founded Benz & C, a company focused on making industrial machines and stationary gas engines. This venture started off strong and quickly became profitable. With a steady income and a team of 25 employees, Karl finally had the resources to pursue his ultimate dream, building a car. Instead of simply attaching a motor to a carriage, Karl designed a vehicle entirely around his gas engine. Drawing inspiration from bicycle technology, he built what many consider the first true automobile in 1885, the Benz Patent Motor Wagon. This two-seater tricycle had 3 wheels, a one-cylinder gasoline engine, and could travel at around 7 miles per hour. While it was modest by today's standards, it was a groundbreaking invention at the time. In 1886, Karl showcased his car to the public, but the reaction was mixed. While some admired his innovation, many were skeptical. Some feared the machine would explode, while others believed it was the devil's carriage. Even his business partners doubted its potential, arguing that it was no faster than a horse, prone to break down, and reliant on fuel, which was not readily available. Despite the criticism, Karl was confident in his vision. By 1888, he became the first person in the world to manufacture cars for sale. His wife, Bertha Benz, was his greatest supporter, often staying by his side in the workshop and offering valuable suggestions. Even with improvements, the automobile faced challenges. Early buyers could only drive short distances and needed mechanics with them at all times. The cars were also very expensive, making them accessible only to the wealthy. However, many in the upper class dismissed them as noisy, messy, and impractical. Carl knew that for his invention to succeed, he needed to show the world that the automobile was here to stay. One morning in the summer of 1888, Bertha Benz decided to take an important step in automobile history. While her husband, Carl, was still asleep, she quietly left their home and set off in his car, accompanied by their two sons. Their destination was her mother's house in Pforzheim, which was 66 miles away from Mannheim. Bertha didn't inform Carl or the authorities, likely knowing they would try to stop her. At that time, no motorized vehicle had ever attempted a journey of that distance. Determined to prove the value of Carl's invention, Bertha faced many challenges along the way. The roads were rough and dusty, designed for horses, not cars. She had to stop at a pharmacy to refill the gas and even make a few mechanical repairs herself. The journey took over 12 hours, but Bertha and her sons made it safely to Pforzheim. Her trip was a turning point. It showed the world that the automobile was here to stay and helped bring attention to Carl's invention. After her journey, the Benz motor wagon became the talk of the town, gaining major publicity. As a result, Benz and C began to grow rapidly. By 1890, it had become the second largest engine manufacturer in Germany, though this was mainly from selling stationary gasoline engines. With new business partners, Friedrich Bonder and Julius Ganz, handling the marketing and business side, Carl could focus more on engineering. This led to several innovations, including the planetary gear transmission, double pivot steering, and a boxer engine design. At their recommendation, Carl also created an improved automobile, the Benz Victoria, which hit the market in 1893. This luxurious two-passenger car featured a 3-horsepower engine capable of reaching 11 miles per hour. It sold fairly well, but it was the Benz Velo, a more affordable model, that truly took off. With about 1,200 units produced, the Benz Velo became the first large-scale production car in the world, making Benz and C the largest automobile company during the 1890s and early 1900s. However, while the company was growing rapidly, it was also facing competition from a nearby company, Daimler Motoring Gesellschaft. Daimler Motoring Gesellschaft, DMG, was led by two brilliant engineers, Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach. Daimler, in particular, was known for his competitive spirit, his extensive network, and his knowledge of how to run a business, skills Carl Benz seemed to lack. The first Daimler car to be sold commercially appeared in 1892. 2 years later, they released a two-cylinder model, and in 1897, they introduced the Daimler Phoenix, their first front-engine car. It was clear that Daimler's company was catching up to Benz, with their vehicles looking more attractive and comfortable to the public. Sadly, Daimler passed away in 1900, leaving Maybach in charge. Under Maybach's leadership, he designed the Mercedes 35-horsepower car in 1901, a groundbreaking vehicle that closely resembled the modern car. It was equipped with a powerful gasoline engine, a wider body, a steel chassis, and a low center of gravity. Initially created for racing, the car was named after Emile Jelinek daughter, Mercedes. This car dominated multiple street races and hill climbs, reaching speeds of up to 56 miles per hour, far surpassing any competitor of the time. The Daimler company rebranded its vehicles as Mercedes and ventured into racing, leading to internal disagreements with Carl Benz, who preferred cautious driving. Despite early struggles, racing successes, including record-breaking race cars, established Benz as a top brand alongside Daimler. However, financial challenges post-World War I led to their 1926 merger as Daimler-Benz, launching iconic models like the Mercedes-Benz Type 630 and SSK. Under Hitler's regime, Daimler-Benz flourished in motorsports, creating high-speed cars and supporting Nazi efforts with military production, often relying on forced labor. After World War II, the company faced losses but rebuilt with American support, focusing initially on essential vehicles before resuming passenger car production. By the 1950s, Mercedes-Benz had regained prominence, becoming a leading global brand, driven by Carl Benz's pioneering vision. When Adolf Hitler came to power in 1933, he promoted German engineering by heavily investing in Daimler-Benz for Grand Prix racing. Mercedes-Benz dominated from 1934 to 1939, competing fiercely with the state-backed auto union, elevating Germany's status in motorsports. Hitler personally favored Mercedes-Benz, using its luxury 770 model. With World War II's onset in 1939, Daimler-Benz shifted to military production, ceasing civilian car manufacturing by 1942 and relying on forced labor under brutal conditions. Post-war, the company faced severe losses but retained its factories, unlike competitors like BMW. By 1946, with U.S. support, Daimler-Benz resumed production of essential vehicles and later passenger cars. By the 1950s, Mercedes-Benz had regained global prominence, excelling in motorsports and achieving substantial sales, becoming a leading automotive brand rooted in Carl Benz's pioneering vision. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more fascinating content.